A lot of people like to blame the Californians who are moving here to Utah for skyrocketing home prices. However, we're going to discuss whether this is true or not and what the stats actually have to say when it comes to this information. What's up, you guys? It's Cody Steck. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Before we jump into this article, I want to say if you're thinking about making a move here to southern Utah, to St. George, Washington, or Cedar City, or anywhere in the entire state, let us know. Reach out to me, call, text, or email anytime. Me and my team service the entire state, and we'd love to help you if you're making a move here. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, or maybe you even already live here in these areas, then reach out to us. We love helping people with their real estate needs. So in this article, we're going to be talking about what actually is happening with the population growth here in Utah, where are people coming from, and what portion of the population is actually coming from California. That's all going to be important information in today's video. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, so this is a recent article that was just put out on KSL.com, which is a popular news outlet here. If you've watched my channel before, you've seen me review these articles that come on where we just talk about news. We talk about what other people are reporting on, which, by the way, hey, if anybody from KSL is watching or anybody has a connection to these guys, I'd love an introduction. I love talking about these articles. I love talking about real estate, people moving in, and what's happening in the market. I'd love to get an inside shot and get interviewed for the newspaper. That'd be pretty cool. So let's jump into this. It's a common refrain. Californians are moving here in droves, and they're to blame for Utah's quality of life, traffic, overcrowding, and skyrocketing home prices. But how much of this is actually true? Who's really living here in Utah, and how has that changed in recent years? The reality is Utah is a top state in the West for its share of homegrown residents. An estimated 62% of Utah's residents were born here, according to the latest 2020 estimates from the U.S. Census Bureau. That's compared to Utah's western neighbors with less than half of their residents homegrown. Consider Idaho, where 47% of residents were born there. Colorado and Wyoming both have an estimated 42.4% of homegrown residents, and Nevada is only at 26.7%. So this right here is obviously showing that a lot of these western states, there's a lot of people moving into them, and there's a smaller portion of the population who actually was born in that area and has stuck around to live in that area. Arizona has about 39.6%, according to Landgeist, which used 2019 census data to complete its state-by-state estimates. Now, before we continue on in this article, if you are thinking about making a move here to Utah, or you already live here and you're looking at buying, selling, or investing in real estate, reach out to me. My information will be here on the screen. I absolutely love talking to you guys. I've had people from all across the world reach out, and I cannot wait to hear from you about your individual situation as well. Anywhere here along the Wasatch Front, or even the entire state of Utah, me and my team service the entire state, and we'd love to hear from you. So call, text, or email anytime. All right, continuing on. So what is it about Utah? Why does it stick out as a homegrown state in the West? Emily Harris, a demographic analyst at the University of Utah's Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute, which, by the way, they do a lot of studies on population and real estate here in the area, said that's likely because of Utah's consistently young population compared to the rest of the nation. Big families have helped fuel the state's rapid population growth and historically high fertility rate. So look, this is basically saying we have a lot of big families here in Utah, and this is actually what's growing the state's population at such a rapid rate. If you remember an article review that I did maybe about a month or two ago, we talked about how many people were moving into the state from the Census Bureau, and I don't think it was actually as many as people might think if they had to guess, right? If somebody had to guess, they might say, oh, 50,000 or 100,000, and in some areas it was like 10,000, 20,000. So it just depends. I mean, for the whole entire state, yeah, that number is pretty big and it adds up year over year, but it's really the big families here in the state that are driving this. That means the majority of Utah's growth over the years has actually come from natural growth. Move-ins from out of state aren't all to blame for traffic woes and housing demand. It's your kids and grandkids too. That's it. Stop having kids. Just stop having kids so we don't have traffic. That's the answer. Even though Utah's born-in-state population is currently relatively bigger than its western neighbors, changes have been brewing. Utah has been experiencing for the last couple decades now some demographic shifts. Utah was the fastest growing state in the nation from 2010 to 2020. Very important information right there. But it saw a sharp drop in its fertility rate and a steady decline in natural population increase, Harris wrote in this report. Yes, Utah has historically been a strong homegrown state, but net migration as a larger share of population growth in Utah has really been a more recent development, probably in the last 5 years. In recent years, robust migration to Utah has become a much more significant driver of its growth. This is where the Californian blame game comes in. And while it's not entirely true, it's not completely false either. So, is it Californians' fault or not? Yes, California is the largest single source of domestic in-migrants for Utah. From 2014 to 2018, California was responsible for the largest share of Utah's domestic in-migration, according to research. It's very obvious that California is the largest state that's sending people to Utah. However, keep in mind that this isn't surprising given the California's sheer size, right? They've got a lot of people there. It's the most populated state in the nation and has seen significant domestic net out migration for decades since 1990. That's the last 3 decades. Plus, Utah sits fairly close to California, the Golden State. However, and this is important to note, Utah isn't even in the top 10 states that have received the most migrants from California. So yes, there's a lot of people moving here, but most Californians are moving to other states first. Consider this, in 2018, Utah received about 18,000 Californians. That pales in comparison to the over 50,000 Californians that states like Arizona, Texas, Nevada, and Washington received in the same year, according to the research. So, what if we adjust for population size and compare Utah to other states? Harris did that calculation, which gave a clearer view of the propensity of each state to send migrants to Utah. That revealed Utah's northern neighbor, Idaho, actually sent the most population-adjusted migrants to Utah from 2014 to 2018. This was 5.3 migrants per 1,000 residents. Wyoming was Utah's next largest by adjusted for population with 3.02 per 1,000 residents, and California by comparison only sent 0.57 migrants per 1,000 residents. So yes, there's a large amount of people moving here, but it's actually a small portion of California overall. So I've got 2 little maps here. You can see that there was 16.6. This is Utah in-migrant domestic origins. So a lot of people came from California, which is the #1 state, but on a population adjusted basis, California is actually very, very low. So most of the people are coming from Idaho, Wyoming, or the surrounding states as well. All right, will Utah be a homegrown state for long? When asked if Utah's homegrown population could decline in coming years, given the decline of the state's fertility rates and incline in migration, Harris said it's possible, but it's still too soon to say. It's definitely something we're watching, she said. Utah in the last 10 years has been kind of at the tail end of being done with a birth wave. We're anticipating within the next 3 to 5 years an increase in births because of the age distribution of population. This means there's a lot of younger women who are going to be growing up, getting married, having kids, whatever, starting their families. So in the next 3 to 5 years, they're expecting a lot of potential mothers to come of age, I guess, if you will, and start having kids, right? She said that as more millennials enter these childbearing ages. Utah, like other states, goes through ebbs and flows of births or fluctuation of natural population increases based on those birth waves. So I do anticipate that natural increase and net migration becoming more level kind of even shares of Utah's population growth. So she thinks it's going to, kind of even out there. However, Harris added net migration is a more volatile indicator of change. While births and natural growth is a more steady statistic to track, in-migration is trickier because it can really change year to year. Obviously, we saw a huge in-migration of people from all around the world move here because of the COVID pandemic, right? A lot of people said, hey, I need to get outside. I want to go enjoy somewhere that has a nice outdoor recreation, or I'm working remote. I don't need to live in these expensive states. Let me move to Utah where it's a much more affordable cost of living. Take what happened during the pandemic. I'm just going to skip that because that's exactly what I just saw. What I just said. In 2021, Utah saw a net migration of 34,853, almost 10,000 more than the previous year's estimate. So that's a pretty big swing there. Natural increase is much more stable because births and deaths are a much more long-term process, whereas then in-migration can change year to year. Typically, recessions prompt Americans to stay where they are. The pandemic was an outlier. If there's another large economic recession that isn't super weird like COVID-19, we would expect net migration, not just for Utah, but a lot of places to go back down. So if there's a recession that comes into the market, then they're expecting net migration. People just basically stay where they are and get through the recession before they think about making a move. So with all that said, guys, thanks for watching. Drop a comment down below. I want to hear your thoughts on what you think about this issue. If you're thinking about making a move here to southern Utah, or even the entire state for that matter, or maybe you already live here, call, text, or email me anytime if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. We help people from all across the world make a move right here to Utah, or even just help people locally as well. We'd love to hear from you. My information's here on the screen. And also consider sharing this video with a friend or a family member who might be interested in this content as well. We'd love to get this video in front of them and provide them some value as well. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.